Right at the end of 2020, when we first went into the shutdown, we had to get devices into the hands of kids. We had to kind of take care of some primary needs around food security. And then we started to really look at the quality of our remote instruction and where would we get the resources to be able to do what we were being asked to do. Quickly from there, evolved the idea of a Berkshire County initiative.
The intent of BRLI when we launched it a year ago was to help teachers and schools and districts transition in a really very tumultuous moment where they weren't sure necessarily whether they're going to be in school or out of school.
The difference between what happened in the spring of 2020 and school year 21-22 was very dramatic. We went right through from just initiating remote learning, where students were really working asynchronously and independently, to really a synchronous direct instruction model that is what our families were looking for.
We have just come off of 15 months of essentially, emergency education, sort of responding to the situation that was before us with COVID-19 and the pandemic.
The initiative supported us in multiple ways. There was, I think, resources that were provided to us to be able to help us technologically advance what it was that we were doing in the classroom. Interestingly enough, even though this is about technology, it was the connection that was provided with other districts that was really critical, important for us. It made it possible for our teachers to communicate one-to-one more effectively, even though they couldn't be face-to-face. It also, though, made us able to interact with teachers from other districts, administrators from other districts, and it was that sense that we are all in this together that really helped us a great deal. And that sort of made the initiative especially important for us.
One of the best things about the BRLI project is that all of our partner districts have a district designated champion or several champions working with our group, our collaborative cohort here for the BRLI. And those educators, those ed tech, those teacher leaders come together, share best practices, help plan out the larger project. They work and bring back information from the BRLI team to their schools and districts. They've really been thought partners in bringing about educational innovations and helping us organize the project around different activities throughout the school year.
I really enjoy collaborating. That's part of my teaching practice anyway. My husband and I were international teachers previous to moving back to the U.S. And so we've been part of lots of collaborative professional learning networks, and I was really intrigued by the idea of being able to communicate and collaborate with educators around the county. And it's really changing my practice in that I'm learning so much more about how not to focus on the tool, but focus on the learning and how can the tool support the learning of our students.
So you were able to really see how other districts were doing things, and you were able to really spend some time really talking about some of the things that were and weren't working, and to brainstorm how to fix them or try to bring something that was working in one district over to my district.
BRLI, I think, helped to create a network of individuals across districts in a couple of different role types. Technicians, the folks who are doing all the tech work around software and systems. But then the flip side of that was really helping the teachers to navigate teaching in a brand new way.
As a district leader, I think it's really important for us, particularly in Berkshire County, to really think about how we can collaborate. This was a time period during the pandemic where it would have been easy to start to feel very isolated and separate.
Working with other districts helps us really congeal all the best practices, see what is actually working, using the data, and then helping our students achieve academic success and having a model for our teachers to move forward.
I think there's an amazing amount of inspirational work happening across the county. The challenge, of course, is we live in a very geographically big county, the biggest in the state. There were some great examples last year where we were just literally doing a network meeting using Zoom, and someone raised a question and someone on the call from another district said, oh, we've worked through that and we think we got an answer to that. Let us help you with that right now. For me, that is the power in this work.
I think it's going to be very important that we always remain nimble as a system with the idea that we could always return to remote learning. That is something we had to do, but it's now something we know will be a possibility forever.
I find this project incredibly exciting because we have significant expertise and knowledge in our region of the Berkshires, and collaborating with educators, teachers, and administrators on this project really showcases the power of us working together, the goal of improving our schools and learning for kids across the whole region.
If you rewind to the spring when we all got sent home, we kind of had to reimagine education.
And the resources that have come to us through the initiative have really sort of taken what it was that we were trying to do and just expanded that. So it's been really exciting in that regard to be able to provide a learning environment that extends within the school. But in this last 18 months with the pandemic and with remote learning, actually it extends into the children's homes as well. You can point to individual kinds of technology, but I think it's collectively where the real force has been wielded in the most effective way, and that is turning everything into a learning opportunity and a learning environment for the children.
I was the project manager for BRLI this past year, and so there were a lot of things that we did to support teachers, and one of the main things was that we provided drop-in sessions for professional development for the teachers in the county. We recorded them and then we had them put onto a platform where teachers could access them and watch them later in case they couldn't show up for the actual event.
You were able to really see how other districts were doing things, and then that continued when I became one of the champions, where I really got a chance to spend some time really talking about some of the things that were and weren't working.
We were lucky enough to have one of the leaders of the project at our school. In the beginning of this, she helped from just learning how to log into Canvas, learning how to add buttons, how do we load assignments, all the way through the end of the school year where we were using much more complex educational programs and tools and online learning initiatives. She sat in on lessons we were giving, was able to give feedback. She was able to provide live support and also give updates to any new technology that was out there.
One of the cornerstones of our work last year was adopting a common LMS, a learning management system. An LMS system allows you to put all your curriculum, your teaching, your courses, your workshops, your videos, your tests online. And so by adopting a single LMS, we use the Canvas system by Instructure, we were able to purchase it jointly and obviously save money. We were able to train people together so that they weren't using 4 or 5 different systems.
I think having an LMS was crucial for when students were home, just to be able to provide instruction and lessons, to provide a structure, to keep them organized, to have everything in one place, especially in a way that families can also access. And I think it also provided a benefit to teachers in that it forced them to really think about what was the most important parts of their instruction, how it should be organized, and how it could be presented in a way that makes sense and is accessible to as many students as possible. It also allowed us to include things like videos and presentations that students could go back to and watch again if they needed. And I think all of that is really important.
It's that sense of, making the learning available in a coherent manner and then also making other applications interoperable. You remove some of the log in, log out kind of stuff and the noise and allow a more free flow learning experience.
For me, it's just good public education. When you have an engaged student, you have tools that allow them to be 24/7. Whenever they need the content, it's there.
I feel that the most beneficial piece was the equitability of having students be able to access resources from wherever they were. So if you have a student who's sick, they could pull up the lesson from the previous week, the previous day, they could rewatch videos. If you have a student who's out for other reasons, like a suspension, they still have access to the same exact lessons and resources that the students did that were in the building. And so that's something we've never had before.
The tools that I think have been most impactful are those that take advantage of that new expectation and willingness an openness, an expectation for parents and families to be more engaged, and most importantly, that sense of student agency.
I love how the students have immediate feedback on their answers, and they start analyzing their answers and going back and correcting them, and just integrating that and bringing that higher level thinking into their work. And they start taking ownership of their work.
Additionally, if you were in a school district and you had 3 children and 3 teachers were using 3 different systems, that could be really frustrating as a parent. So the idea also was on the user side, on the student side, and the parent side, that they were getting comfortable with a single learning management platform that had the same kind of look and feel.
It brings a lot of opportunities for engagement in the instruction to get students more connected to their learning. And big one for me is formative assessment, that now with technology, it's a little bit easier sometimes to collect data in the moment from all of your students to get responses through tools like Pear Deck and Canvas to support instruction.
So now we have the opportunity. What's next? The opportunity to use some of the best strategies and tools that we have learned, refine those practices, and help support our students and our learning communities be better than they ever were before.
What I'm really excited about is continuing to use those tools. The students learn more than I ever thought they would learn about themselves as students, as learners. They learn to do the same work but using different tools at home in a hybrid format. So I'm definitely really excited to continue using technology tools in the classroom too, and not just in a remote setting.